Hi, I'm Eric Summerer, and here's what's coming from the Dice Tower
Hey
this
folks,
week.
welcome to the news for November 26, 2012 for the Dice Tower Network. Well, last week went a bit differently, I think, than we were all expecting. I was going to be posting our Christmas shopping guides from the Dice Tower, and we plan to do that this week. We're planning to have, I have 8 different shopping guides that will be going up. We'll be talking about two-player games and strategy games and thematic games and stocking stuffers, and so those will be up for your viewing pleasure this week. The reason that they did not go up last week, and the reason I kind of dropped off the scene last week, was because as I've said before in the videos, our newest daughter Sunny was going to be born this January. Well, Sunny was born this week, but Sunny did not make it. Sunny was stillborn, and I appreciate all those who have sent well wishes, and it was a tough time, but I appreciate the support and just the nice things that everyone said to me. So I appreciate that. We're back on the swing of things. We move on and we keep going, and so I look forward to seeing what's coming this week. So let's start with the board gaming news. Since Sunny is on my mind, and of course, if you remember 2 years ago, I want to talk about the Jack Vasel Memorial Fund. It's just the auction. Not everyone has yet paid for their different items in the auction, but we have gotten $36,000 at least so far for the fund, and that's really exciting to me that we can use it to help people in their time of need. It's just, you guys are the best. Anybody who bid or put things up in that auction, from me, a big thank you. In other news, there's, I know some people are getting tired of hearing about Kickstarter all the time, but there's some more games on Kickstarter from new companies. GMT is on Kickstarter now with a new game, Thunder Alley, which I did a preview of last week, and Academy Games also has a game up on Kickstarter, 1775 Rebellion. So we're seeing some war game companies move over to Kickstarter. So there's quite a few companies using it these days. Speaking of war games, Asmodee has announced that they're going to be picking up a second printing of Martin Wallace's A Few Acres of Snow. Very popular game from last year, and so it's good to see that coming back out. Passport Studios is a new conglomerate coming together. They brought Trajan to America, and they have the rights to Tokaido, which is a new, unusual style game. Once I get a copy of that, we'll talk more about that in the future. And Escape is finally out. That was a Kickstarter game from Queen Games, but now is all over the place. Got very high ratings last week at BoardGameGeek Con, and provides a very tense experience in 10 minutes. I'll try to have my review of that up next week, but so far, I really enjoyed playing it. The news story of the week is that the BoardGameGeek Awards have been announced. Now, the BoardGameGeek Awards are basically the People's Choice Award, where anybody can go and vote on these games, which will produce something different, than the other awards have. The game of the year, the game that got the most votes, was not really a surprise, and that was Eclipse. They also give Best Abstract Game to Kingdom Builder. Let's see other great games. They had Party Game, King of Tokyo, and Children's Game, King of Tokyo, which just goes to prove that the users of BoardGameGeek don't really understand children or what a party game is, but that's okay. For them, those were party and children's games. Thematic game went to Mage Knight, the board game. Best expansion, Alien Frontiers Faction. Most innovative, Risk Legacy. I agree with most of the awards. They did a good job, except children's was just idiotic. But again, I think that if you want to have a really good children's award, you need to have only parents voting on it or only children voting on it to find the best children's game. But anyhow, go check those out at BoardGameGeek.com. Here are my reviews for the week. I'm talking about High and Low Poker, which has cards that have two different things. You're making a high hand and a low hand. We have Manhattan Project, which is a worker placement game about making nuclear bombs. We have Trains, which is a Dominion clone, but with a board. We have Battle Chaos, which is like a two-player fighting Carcassonne. Spell DB, which is a game when you roll dice and try to spell words. A game here called Sugar Gliders, which will remind you of Hey, That's My Fish. The expansion for the wonderful Star Trek fleet captains, the Romulans. Woohoo! A two-player abstract game, Blind Side. A kids' games called King's Critters. And then a new game from AEG called Guildhall. I also have some reviews from some of my other contributors. The Dice Tower Network. This week, the Dice Tower itself, because of everything that went on and just the busyness, we're going to be reposting a classic episode this week, so check that out. It'll be going up tomorrow. Ludology 44A. Ryan Stern forces some people to play his Trading in the Mediterranean game. Must be a sad episode. Plaid Hat number 70 has a shocking guest on it, Steve Bonacore. Who yet infiltrates another podcast. The Secret Cabal number 30, where they review Spartacus, the board game, and they also talk about revitalizing older games. Flip the Table number 16, where they play trashy old games. This time takes a look at Murder, She Wrote. The Gamers Atlas does a review of Return of the Jedi, Battle of Sarlacc. And the Longview this week is going to be posting an episode where they, in their show, they talk about one game the whole episode. And this time they're going to be talking about Magic the Gathering. Well, that's it for this week. Don't forget you can find out the news at GameSalootNews.com. And also, Remy Gibson posts an audio little podcast of the news every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Puts one of those up so you can get your fix of gaming news. So please check us out. Check out all this stuff you can find at Dicetower.com. Once again, I really appreciate you guys backing me up. I'm sorry I didn't get as much content up last week. We'll try to get some more up for you this week. We're going to the Christmas season. There are so many great games that I'll be talking about. I have a pile of, I think, 65 new games to review over the next month or so. So we'll get cracking as fast as we can. Lots of fun times. You guys are the best audience I've ever had. Let's go.
Find all this and more at Dicetower.com. See you soon.
Shut the door!
That's right. Shut it.
Shut the door!
Shut the door!
Shut the door!
When there's so much entertainment in the world, I don't know why anyone would choose the Dice Tower.